Buckle up, Buttercup, you're about to be blown away. I know I was by one of the coolest things I've seen in a very long time, all year for sure. This is the Krebs Customs AK chambered in 9x39, and we did everything with this thing. We shot it a ton, did some run and gun, tested how far we could shoot it, did some ballistics testing, and ran it with a ton of silencers because it is a subsonic round and that's what we do. Make sure your tray tables are secured, put your seats in the full upright position, and ensure your seatbelt is properly buckled, because you aren't going to want to miss a second of this. I'm pretty much a big fan of everything that you guys see featured on the channel, but every so often we get to shoot something that really excites me, and this is one of those projects. Let me present to you the Krebs Customs AK chambered in 9x39. If you've never heard of Krebs Customs, he's been building absolutely the finest AKs available for longer than many of you have been alive. He was one of the first to incorporate features like AR stocks and AR-like handguards on the AK, modernizing the platform and giving it more adaptability to modern accessories. He's pretty much like the Wilson Combat or Nighthawk Custom of the AK world. If you've never heard of 9x39, it's pretty much like the really big guy at the gym who your girlfriend always says not to worry about. It's a subsonic round developed in Russia to specifically be used in their Vintorez sniper rifle that is used by the Russian Special Forces. It allowed them to deliver a very heavy bullet, around 250 grains, very quietly and accurately with devastating results. It's basically a 7.62x39 necked out to hold a very large 9mm projectile. When you bring the two together, it's a thing of beauty. Basically, many of the benefits you get from 300 Blackout apply, so that allows you to have an awesome AK built by Krebs Customs in a very compact package, because being subsonic, you can use a shorter barrel and still get full powder burn, so you don't lose anything ballistically with the short barrel, giving you a fun-sized AK without any drawbacks. Taking a closer look at the gun, you have what is the finest AK platform gun that I've ever had in my hands. I've been familiar with Krebs Customs for a long time and always wanted to try out one of his AKs. Now that I've had the opportunity, they totally live up to the hype and even exceed that. This is the nicest AK I've ever had the opportunity to fondle and drool on. Everything is extremely tight, well fit, and has no slop. When looking to build his 9x39 incarnation of the AK, Krebs turned to Sharp Brothers to get one of their custom milled receivers. This is their MB47 receiver that Mark Krebs worked on them with to optimize it for the 9x39 round. Aside from providing a rock-solid base for the gun, it has some other cool features, including integrated buffer tube threads, so you have a wide variety of options whether you keep yours a pistol or convert it to an SBR. There are also some really good QD mounting points, an option you don't see on many AKs. How effective of a round is 9x39? Well, it's interesting to talk about. First of all, you have to understand that there are some basic limitations because by nature it is a subsonic round. But in just listening to steel get hammered at 200 yards, you know it's got to be good at least that far out.
See how hard it hits that steel?
We did do some testing. Basically, without upsetting the bleeding hearts out there, let's just say that if a bullet has enough force to go through a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, it has enough force to be fatal. It's pretty well established that 300 Blackout Subsonic is usable for hunting 100 yards and in, and of course shot placement is definitely important. But one of the big selling points of 9x39 is it's supposed to be able to reach out farther than 300 Blackout, so we placed a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood at 300 yards to see if we could pierce it.
Going for the wood now?
Mm-hmm.
So then we rolled down to 300 to see our results. All right, so here are our shots at 300 on a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood. We got one here, we got one centered up on our 2x4, and we got one over here. And if we go around back, they went right through the 3/4 inch piece of plywood, and the one that hit the 2x4 also went through. So I would say it is lethal at 300 yards. According to that little test, it should definitely be good out to 300 for hunting. We also got in some prototype expanding bullets from Lehigh Defense to test, and we ran that through some gel at about 15 yards. Absolutely devastating. That's about 14 inches of penetration. You can see the full expansion, the wound cavity, and the temporary wound cavity. This will do some serious damage, and this gel looks so perfect I might just keep it in this form. But we did fire one into water so that you can see that you're getting about a full 1 inch of expansion. Little piggies beware. On the receiver, you have one of the Krebs safeties, and if you've never seen this, this is pretty cool. It has a large shelf for your finger, allowing you to activate and deactivate the safety without losing a solid grip on the gun. Beyond that, it has a notch allowing you to hold the bolt back. So you can hold the bolt back, insert a mag, and then drop the bolt, essentially giving you the function of a bolt release in the AK platform. Optics can be mounted from the optic rail on the side of the receiver. You can get mounts like this one from Midwest Industries that will allow you to use just about anything you can dream up. This is also the best trigger that I've ever seen in an AK. It's made by ALG and then it is tuned by Krebs and is pulling at a crisp 2 pounds. It also has a really nice short reset. Again, I just can't say enough good about this trigger. Every part of it has been polished and reworked by Krebs. The package is rounded out with a grip from Tango Down, which feels really good in the hand, and a Gearhead Works tailhook mod too, which is a great brace and is adjustable for length of pull. What kind of accuracy and range can you expect from the Krebs Customs and the 9x39 cartridge? Well, it's pretty interesting. Let me start off by saying at the time this review is being done, there aren't many choices available for 9x39 ammo, and basically 90% of the video, including the accuracy and long range, was done with Tula 245 grain. Just feels a little weird saying that Tula is the best ammo we found, but it was. Anyway, at 100 yards, it's nothing to write home about. We got about 2-inch groups, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, but that's actually pretty typical from subsonic ammo. It's really not meant for precision accuracy. What was impressive was when we decided to stretch it out. You see, another interesting thing about subsonic ammo is since it starts out subsonic and never has to shift from supersonic to subsonic, it's very stable. 9x39 is also very heavy, so it carries. So basically, if you can get it going, it keeps going and going.
almost looked like the bullet bounced off hole.
We got very effective and consistent hits at 300, fairly consistent hits at 500. And we're even able to lob some of the Tula ammo with the Krebs Customs AK all the way out to 700 yards with some regularity. So while precision accuracy may not be the greatest, but that's typical from subsonic ammo, practical accuracy I would say is exceptional. For those that would like to know the dope on the scope so you can try these shenanigans at home, with a 100 yard zero, we're roughly 8 mils at 300. About 22 mils at 500, and roughly 31 to 32 mils at 700 yards. Those might not be precise numbers because we were doing a lot of holding over with the reticle and dialing, but those should be close enough to get you started and you should be on in just a few shots. The mags were specifically developed for this project by CS Specs and are awesome. They have been rugged and reliable, and they are available in 10, 20, and 30 round configurations. Personally, on such a small compact package, I like the 20 rounders, but the 30 rounders look cool as well. At the time this video is being made, one of each will come with the Krebs 9x39, so you will get 3 mags with the gun, which is so nice when you're going with a proprietary magazine. Let's talk about suppressors for a second, because 9x39 is slightly larger than normal 9mm. So what suppressors can you use? I am so glad you asked. A lot, actually. First of all, if you measure 9x39, it's about .368, which is larger than 9mm Parabellum at .357. Basically, 30 caliber cans like the Q Thunder Chicken, the Dead Air Nomad, or the Silencerco Omega are going to be a no-go. Unless you want to have a very long discussion with one of their customer service technicians and explain to them how you may have slightly rebored their can. Regular 9mm suppressors for the most part should be okay, however you want to be a little bit careful. If your 9mm can has a really tight bore and becomes slightly loose, you could get a baffle strike. You definitely want to stay away from adapters like 3-lug and pretty much stick to direct thread adapters, giving you the optimum best alignment. We used the CGS Group Mod 9 and the Silencerco Omega 9K a little and didn't have any issues with either. 45 caliber cans will also work and they have plenty of clearance. We tried the Silencerco Omega 45K, the Dead Air Ghost, and also the Silencerco Hybrid, and of course all worked really well. What you may have not known is there are some companies making suppressors for the 9x39 and some other new calibers that have similar diameters. These cans I'm going to refer to as 375 cans, and they work great and give you the optimum bore size for the 9x39. In this bore size, we use the Liberty suppressors Vintorez, the Bowers Group Verse 375, and many of you may not realize this, but the Dead Air Wolfman is optimized for 9x39. It's important to mention that only subsonic ammo is available commercially currently. In the future, there will be supersonic loadings, and reloaders will be able to make their own supersonic loadings. Many of the pistol cans I highlighted as working will not be compatible with supersonic loadings, so user beware if you're running supersonic 9x39. But if you are, let me know what you think. The Liberty Suppressors Vintorez is actually a collaboration with Krebs Customs. It threads on and locks up directly to the Krebs interchangeable muzzle system, so it's pretty much designed to go with this gun, and it sounds really good. The Krebs interchangeable muzzle system is actually another really cool thing from Krebs, and it basically lets you go from a flash suppressor to a muzzle brake to a Liberty suppressor, all without changing the original piece on the original threads of the rifle. This detent also locks the suppressor on, preventing it from ever walking off. All the suppressors sounded really good actually. It's kind of like 300 Blackout, where just about any can sounds good because the round is specifically designed to be suppressed. You do get the clickety-clack of the AK action, which is as loud or louder than the bullet actually going off. Here's a whole bunch of suppressors so you can hear for yourself. Since I know you're all going to ask, while they all sounded really good, in my opinion, the Dead Air Wolfman in the full configuration is probably the quietest. This is an absolutely amazing gun from Krebs Customs, and I'm so glad he was right on the cutting edge in bringing this round stateside in a solid quality offering. I can't say enough good about the overall build quality, reliability, and performance from the Krebs gun, and of course his partners in pulling this exceptional project off. And let's talk about reliability for a second. You're going to get solid AK reliability. We ran 1,800 rounds through this gun without a cleaning, all of that suppressed except for the 3 rounds that you saw in the suppressor testing. Every other round that was ever fired out of this gun has been suppressed, and it's still working just fine. Dirtier than all hell, but it's still working. When you have a new round like this, especially one you're kind of excited about, you always worry a little bit about the first couple guns and offerings that are going to come to market. Well, I can confidently say that the Krebs Customs AK will not disappoint, and has actually completely exceeded and blown away all of my lofty hopes and expectations. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, you need to look in the mirror and ask yourself, what are you doing with your life? We work tirelessly to try to bring you the absolute best gun content there is. The least you can do is subscribe so you can find out when a new video hits. If you want to find out what we're reviewing way before it hits YouTube, check us out on Instagram and Facebook. There you can see the guns that we're reviewing way before it hits the YouTube channel. If you want to help support Alabama Arsenal, the best possible way you can do that is on Patreon. These videos are surprisingly expensive to make. Every little bit helps and is greatly appreciated. There's also gear available right below the video if you want to go out and represent. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching.